Hello everyone. I hope the sound and the stream are clear. If you have any problem, you can report on the chat. Welcome again. Today we will be talking about the AI-driven cloud operations with the DevOps agent. Firstly, introduce myself. I'm Onur. I work as a Cloud Alliance Lead at Kloya, and I would like to introduce also Çağatay and the Dorian. Çağatay, Dorian.
Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar.
Hey everyone, welcome.
Hi. I said we will be talking about the AI-driven cloud operations like the AIOps and the DevOps agent. Firstly, I want to start. Why did we start needing AIOps? What do you think, Dorian, Çağatay? Do you have any idea?
I think Çağatay is better positioned because he's day-to-day dealing with customer incidents, and I know he has been in that space for a long time, and he knows the pains, what happens without AIOps and with AIOps. But before Çağatay goes deeper into, of course, this has been topic for a long time, but we were not able to see the partially practices around. But lately, I think the latest state makes Çağatay a bit more optimistic about that he can inject AIOps in his daily operations. Of course, we were all of us from coming as a background, we are dealing with servers, DevOps, and incidents. So we know the burden around burden around to identify issues, incidents, and figure out the patterns on the systems. So what has been changing in the daily operations of Çağatay? I would give.
Yeah, Çağatay, also maybe you can talk about what is the AIOps or why has AIOps become critical in the last 3 years? Maybe you can talk about it.
I'll just tell you about the pain point, and I guess that will be self-explanatory. So the thing is, we are dealing with incidents on many different projects. The incident, the outage might happen on any layer, like the compute, network, data. You should be prepared to troubleshoot those incidents and respond in time, resolve it with a workaround or a permanent solution, so the service can continue functioning. But the pain is the time you would spend most on is gathering together all the metrics, events, logs, all the observables data. Like, is there any change in the environment? Is there any resource level issue? Maybe throttling in the bandwidth of the network. So that's where AIOps comes and helps us with the SRE part of our service, because it can gather all the data, like your service topology, your resource level metrics, your infrastructure events, application logs. It can gather all of that in parallel, and then try to find the root cause with all those informations. And another pain point is you don't know when the incident might happen. So you might be, we are applying to follow the sun, but let's say we have a one time zone SRE team. You might be sleeping, you might be making coffee. Maybe you are not available for 10 to 15 minutes. You'll need time to open up your laptop and start troubleshooting. But those AI agents does not wait for anything. So you could just have a webhook to inform them about something is happening. And then they'll start automatically. And they'll gather together all that incident context and serve it to you. So when you jump on to the incident, you will start from somewhere rather than nothing. So that's also where AIOps is helping us. This is just for an SRE perspective, by the way. AIOps can help us on many different places, but today we'll talk about the DevOps agent, which is targeting the SRE reliability and incident troubleshooting part.
Oh, well, Çağatay, but then is the real problem monitoring or is it noise versus signal? What's your difficult in your daily?
Both of them, I would say. Like, let's say you have some observable gaps. You are not observing something. For example, you're not observing text-specific metrics, for example, for PostgreSQL. Then you will get false negatives because you are not observing. So if something is going wrong, you know it. The other way is also true. You can get false positives if your alerting configuration is not good enough, or maybe you are not collecting all the metrics and correlating them all together with those configurations. So you can get the noisy part as well. The system will send you an event about something is happening, but there's nothing to worry about. This is one problem, the alert fatigue, I guess it's called. But another issue is, like I said, observability gaps. AI agents are also helping out there because those gaps are hard to identify when you have a large layer of infrastructure with different technologies. But the most probably the most big pain point is correlating, gathering together all those observable data and making sense out of them for the root cause.
Okay, good. We talk about the SRE perspective, Çağatay. You said that AI agents really help to you in your daily work or SRE perspective. But I'm really curious about this. In your daily work, what waste the most time? I'm sure those watching are wondering the same thing, I think. Maybe you can talk about it. What wastes the most time in your daily?
I would say toils. Like you go and there's all the incidents with a workaround most of the time initially because you want the service to come back online as soon as possible. So you don't have luxury to apply the permanent solution. But that becomes a technical debt, a toil you need to eliminate because it might come again because you apply the workaround. For example, you upscaled a workload. It's a workaround solution. You gotta understand why the workload is needing more resources than initially emphasized. So that would be one item which is taking our time, waste our time, the toils. We need to eliminate them. Another one is the alert fatigue, like those false positives. And maybe detecting the observability gaps also because it's really hard to do. You need to focus and analyze the system.
Okay, got it. It's really hard for your daily, but is it the hardest to understand the impact or find the root cause? What do you think, Darya? Maybe do you have an idea? Root cause or impact? Which one is the harder?
Impact is harder, I think. No, it depends. Because it depends on how you also know the business, how you also know the consequences of the services. So it really depends on, if you just see yourself as a system admin, you may not see the impact that much. You might just see the technical impact. So, but if you know the business, if you know the value of each system that creates value, so you know the value, and you should know the impact because of the incident, not just technical impact. But of course, troubleshooting in complex systems, especially in distributed systems, becomes challenging, right? So even in monoliths, more three-tier systems, or even in those type of monoliths, it was challenging. But in distributed systems, you have to correlate events. You have to check the traces. It becomes a bit more challenging. Possibly because of this burden, the movement or the approach around AIOps also gets a bit more popular. I'm mentioning, by the way, before AI era. Of course, AI was in the industry for a long time. My also thesis in university, that was AI, but long time ago. But it became popular, as you know, recently. But before that, AIOps was also there. Okay, AIOps is not new. It's the main, I think, differentiation of it is like, if we can assume it began like back in early 2000. If you don't mind, I may also open a retro slide. So this retro slide, if I may share on the screen. I'm not sure if I can share here. Okay, as you can see, the design and everything is retro, right? Like 25 years back. As you can see the date, it's like 2003. Okay, so this is called autonomic computing maturity level. Okay, so as you know, IBM is great for proposing a model, right? So anyway, of course, this did not finalize as IBM expected, but this movement, what does it propose? It proposed more like self-configuring, self-healing systems, more adaptive, optimizing systems. And after AIOps put into this on the top of this model, more like machine learning, more like root cause analysis, predictive analysis, and if possible, automated remediation, of course, which is also still we are discussing. But now, with what we will be discussing today, I'm now stopping this retro slide. Don't worry, there is no retro slide anymore. And the latest phase, let's call IBM autonomic computing model is the first phase, 2000 AIOps, and now what's happening around is with AI agents. It comes into a level that we can utilize it our day-to-day operations. Previously, there were some practices around, but now I'm sure Çağatay will also demonstrate some of those. It became really interesting to see it in action.
Okay. Çağatay, what do you think?
Okay,
Impact
let's
or
go.
cause? Do you have any add for this conversation?
I'll just say one more thing, and then we can jump on the DevOps agent part. Let me try. Is it on the screen yet? Okay. So I'm not sure if it's retro or anything like that, but what is the use case for AIOps? Just a final slide.
This is better. It's not retro, that retro, at least.
So what we'll try to do with AIOps today, the DevOps Agent, what it is trying to achieve is, like Dorian said, correlating events, detecting anomalies, analyzing proactively. I'll try to show that part with the remediation phase, and also the root cause analysis. So it does all that within the observe monitoring part. So it will gather together all that observability data from different sources, not only Prometheus, Elasticsearch, but also AWS services as well, like CloudTrail. So if you change something and you're trying to hide it, the DevOps agent will find that. Be careful. And for the engage part, the context, in the initial part, I shared that it will gather together all that findings, that root cause, inside the context and give it to you, provide it to you, so you can understand what's happening, what's impacted. But like Dorian said initially, if you don't give it business-related information with a documentation or something, it will just only say the technical impact, not the business impact, but that's also doable. And it will give you some advice, which actions you need to take to mitigate this problem. And for the interface, we'll see the interface, like how you can use the DevOps agent with which functionalities. Sadly, it's not automated, so it cannot act on your behalf. You gotta take those advices and execute them by yourself. Yeah, This is what we will achieve, the first two steps of this use cases diagram. Let's switch. Let me log into AWS in 1 second, Onur.
Okay.
Looks
Yes,
like my...
finally, it's the part that everyone is waiting for, right?
And here, yeah. Okay. So it's in the preview right now. I'm sharing
no.
the screen. Oh, no, the DevOps agent is in the preview stage, so it's free to use, tinker with. And they are developing more and more features, more stability into the agent. So I would go and check out while it's in the preview stage. So it's on the North Virginia only, but you can use it for cross-account and cross-region functionalities. When you get to the DevOps agent page, you will see agent spaces first. Agent spaces, you can, right now for maximum of 10 agent spaces you can create. Why we are using them? Because we will integrate different MCPs, different data sources with these agents. We will give different AWS accounts, for example, with different authorizations. So agent spaces are a way to isolate those agents. For example, you might want to authorize owners to use DevOps agent in test environment or staging, but maybe you don't want him to use the production one yet. So you can also authorize the team members other than the agents with these agent spaces. It's really straightforward once you create it. And when you create it, it will go and check your infrastructure topology in the current account. So this is our primary AWS account, but like I said, you can add more and more accounts here. You just need to go and create an IAM role with an assumable policy, trust policy, and this agent will go and assume that role and do the operations for data gathering in that account and inside that region. So this is how it uses multi-account architecture. And what I would do when I think about the AWS organization structure, maybe Doreen, I can ask your opinion here as well. I would put this into a central account, maybe audit or automation. And
Let's
then
create a new landing zone. Let's create a new landing zone. Okay, maybe just an idea. Okay, came into my mind now. Just a new landing zone called AWS landing zone. Okay, just to just to manage all those. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, of course, it should be like a central one that's managing all your accounts. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that landing zone might work actually, because we will have lots of MCPs, lots of gateways, so we can centrally install all of them inside there. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is how I would use it if I have multi-account architecture. If I don't, I would go for multi-account architecture. It's really good. And then here comes the telemetry part. So we have different capabilities here. I'll go one by one to give you an idea about how and which tools the DevOps agent can integrate to. For telemetry, if you troubleshooted an incident before, you know the value of service topology. Like maybe you are seeing a symptom on one service, like users are getting errors, but the trace is showing the issue is well along at the back. So you need that topology to understand where the chain is failing. Maybe it's a database, maybe it's a dependent service. So to gather that, DevOps agent can integrate with 4 different APM tools. You can integrate with Datadog, Dynatrace, New Relic, or Splunk. So if you are using any one of these, you can register it right here. And maybe for example, for Datadog, maybe you need to enable the MCP server feature before doing this. But when you do that, it will go and use those APM tools, MCP servers, or APIs directly to gather APM related data, the service topology, or traces, or events, and most of the APMs are storing logs and metrics also. So most of your data will come from that APM. So sadly, I'm heavily using another APM here. It's not here, the Instana, but there's a solution for that, and I'll come to it. But this is where you can give the agent your telemetry data. For the pipeline parts, so whenever an incident happens out of nowhere, it's probably someone changed something. If you cannot find a root cause, like in initial 30 minutes, probably something changed you are not aware of. Maybe someone deployed something new, or someone changed an infrastructure related configuration, like maybe a security group or something. So this pipeline is for if you have automation for your workloads like CI/CD, or maybe you have automation for your infrastructure as well. You can integrate GitHub and GitLab here. So whenever an action runs there, the DevOps agent can check for it. Like you will give it an incident time, and it will look around that timeline incrementally. It can go and check last events on the automation part as well. This is really helpful because this is not only about like being not aware of something because someone is not sharing the information, but also maybe you have lots of different teams which are not directly communicating with each other. Maybe you have a war room with 50 people in it, so it's hard to gather together all the changes happened. Maybe the CAP process is not there yet. So this pipeline integration really helps there for checking out which team changed what if you have automations in place. I'll get the communications part later on. It's about the context, but let's go for the MCP server first. You remember my beloved APM tool is not here, so I cannot integrate right here to get my topology. But what I can do, Instana has, by the way, I'm just giving Instana as an example. You can use Prometheus MCP server as well. That's another one. What I can do is, I know that APM has an MCP server implementation here. I can set this up and then give it to the DevOps agent so it can get my topology data from this MCP server. And we run that before for one of our projects, and it's doing a great job because once you give the incident detail to the agent, it will go and check the topology to understand which services that service is depending on, and then go and check all of them as well. So this is where it's valuable. But what I would do rather than using this one, for example, there's another service called Agent Core Gateways, another feature. So I would go and create a gateway here. Let me open it up. I already used it before, yeah. So I will take the OpenAPI schema from whatever tool I want to integrate with my DevOps agent, and then create a gateway for it here, and then give this as an MCP server to the DevOps agent itself, rather than using this one, because I need to maintain this. I need to check for updates. REST API can change, so MCP server should also. But with the OpenAPI schema, I can just change a file and go with it. So this is what I would combine the DevOps agent with, the agent core gateways. It also helps out with authorization, authentication and authorization part with Cognito. So you don't need to worry about that as well while managing your own MCP server. Going back to the DevOps agent, so this is how you can enlarge the capabilities of it with MCP servers. There can be an Argo CD MCP server here for GitOps events and changes, maybe another one for Prometheus. I'm not sure if there's a limit, like how many MCPs you can add here, but if you hit any limit, please let me know. I wonder how far we can go with this. And the webhooks is the last one before we go to the communications. Webhook is like letting the agent know something is happening on the infrastructure and it needs to start troubleshooting. So you remember my example, maybe I was making coffee, let's say, and I need 5 to 10 minutes. And pager fired, an alert came in. I need to open up my laptop and check the incident, but I'll not be available for 5 to 10 minutes. The DevOps agent can start in this time. So if you add a webhook here, for example, we are using Opsgenie, but it can be integrated with any tool, I guess. You could put a Lambda function and call it to send the event details to the
Does it
DevOps
mean
agent.
you are
Start.
replacing? Does it mean you are replacing Çağatay's diagnosis skills with DevOps agent? Because first of all, you have to diagnose what's happening, troubleshoot what's happening, right? So you are replacing Çağatay's one DevOps agent, partially maybe.
Partially, yeah, partially. I would say I'm helping Çağatay rather than replacing Çağatay, because I still need. I could say I'm relocating Çağatay in this case, or relocating the SRE engineer rather than troubleshooting or the initial diagnosis or finding out the observability gaps, etc. Now the SRE is architecting the pattern of those troubleshootings. For example, the role is moving out to providing business-related data as runbooks or documentations, guiding the agent to gather together correct metrics, events, logs to troubleshoot the incident. So I would say the SRE role is changing with AOps rather than fading away. So if we use this and structure this good enough, then it's a helpful tool. And our role might be targeting to do that, implement that structure well enough, rather than extinguishing fires all the time. I hope that's romantic enough. For the webhook part, yeah, it's letting know the DevOps agent is something happening, so it can start no matter what time it is. For the communication part, this is the last building block you would want to go for, especially if you are using Slack or ServiceNow. So once the DevOps agent starts, it will open up a Slack thread and put all its findings, all the analysis results there. So when you finished with that coffee, you can come back and open up the Slack channel and see all the messages from the DevOps agent. Maybe it found the root cause already. So you can start from somewhere rather than nowhere when the incident happens. Yeah, that's about it. For the configuration part, for the capabilities part.
Yeah, we are eager to see also the in action part, like troubleshooting maybe an incident.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can create one simulation, but just think it whatever you can provide.
I am one example troubleshooting. We can go over that. Last configuration advice from me is I didn't do that yet, but the IAM Identity Center. So this is how you can authorize your users on DevOps agent. Maybe it's not a priority, but if you have a large team, then you can go for it with the Identity Center to manage who can use it, how far they can use it, etc. And yeah, this is the web app link. So here we go. So this is the web application. This is the interface we talked about in AOps use cases. So this is where you can start investigation, see the old ones, get the proactive analysis. Sorry, I'm using the white background. The black one is a little bit hard for me because I'm in Izmir. It's a sunny day, but let's go for the dark mode. So let's see how we can start an investigation first, then I'll go with an example investigation back down here. So you can start with a description. And the description can be anything. Maybe you got an event from your APM, for example. You can pass the event ID here, and if your APM is integrated, it will go and get the details from there. Or you can just say, for example, we are having performance issues with, I don't know, Cloya card service in prod EKS cluster inside ES1 region. So you can go for something like this and then press start investigation. Or this can be, this investigation detail can be much more detailed, like we are having increased error rates on this service. Please see this APM dashboard, for example. It can go and check. And then you can specify additional details here. Investigation starting point is if you want to target a specific point to start with, then you can put it here. For example, you can say, please check CPU, memory, and disk I/O utilizations first for that EKS workload or any bottlenecks, for example. So you can give the initial point if you want. Date and time of the incident is important because it will check around these time ranges. So you can specify when you start seeing symptoms here, and you can just name it however you like. And I'm not sure if priority has any meaning yet, but it might be for understanding which types of incidents are critical for you and which are not. So it's a good idea to put right priorities here, because the DevOps agent is also learning your preferences. I'll get to that in the prevention part. So you can start investigating. Like I don't have the infra, so this investigation will go nowhere, but I have another example which I'll go for. Let's just wait for it to start and have issues. So it starts, this is a live timeline. So it goes and does the API calls, MCP calls, etc. It won't fight the cluster because it's not there. And you can see what integration it's calling and which response it got. Yeah, the investigation is completed because there's no resource. So you can see all the context here, like whatever your DevOps agent is trying to do. I guess this is the hard part with the AI agents, observing them, like understanding how they decide to act on whatever problem you give it. So this is the timeline part, and this is the chat part. Let's say you wanna direct the agent to somewhere else. Maybe it's going a wrong place with the analysis and you see it here. You can just send a chat message here. For example, let's say this product ES existed, but the ops agent didn't have authorization yet, and I went and did the authorization part. You can check again. I authorized you for EKS cluster. So when you send a chat message, it will queue an item here for agent to check again. Yeah, here. So you can talk with it. Or maybe it give you a mitigation plan which didn't work for you. You can chat again here to make the agent understand it didn't fix your problem, so it can enhance it. Let's go for a completed one to give you the full troubleshooting sense. So this is for an EC2 with Nginx installed. I went and changed something on the infrastructure, a security group, and I didn't tell anyone about it. And then I used DevOps Agent to find the root cause. So this is the EC2, and this is my description. We had Nginx installed on the EC2. on this region, but now if I curl this public IP, I'm getting connection timeout and site is not loading. So this is my description only, and this is the date of time of the incident. I didn't give it a starting point here. And it started. Let's see what it did. So describes the instance. Yeah, makes an AWS API call here and gets the EC2 details. And then investigate recent infrastructure changes to EC2 instance and security group. So this is where it got me, because it can use CloudTrail to see all the changes happening on the AWS. So right here it says user chat I modified the HTTP rule from port 82 ICMP, and then the incident began. So it found out the infrastructure change created the issue in the first place. And then, the critical finding, it lists all these findings here. So this is the context we are going over with. You can get this to Slack as well. It's checking the CloudTrail events here as well, again, to understand what has happened. Okay, so it saw the run instance, then modify security group rules. So it's getting all the timeline, like when this instance started and when the modification happened on the security group rule. And then, this is the observation, and this is the summary. So it found out the issue, like what happened and who did it in the first place. When you go to root cause, it will give you the root cause of the issue. And there will be a button here. Yeah, by the way, Dorian, this is the impact. Because we don't have any business-related information, it's only giving a technical impact. But let's get to that in a minute, once we go over the mitigation part. And there will be a button in the root cause for creating a mitigation plan. And once you do that, it will give you some commands to prepare, pre-validate, and then apply. So this is adding a port 80 to public internet access. And the rollback also. Like a good SRE, it's giving the rollback plan as well. And crazy part is this button. Ask for human support. Onur asked what wastes your time in your daily work. Creating cases, creating tickets is another answer for that, because you need to gather together all that context and give it to a support engineer so he or she can help you out. We don't have business plan support here, but if you did, you can click to this button and it will gather together all the context and open up a support case for you. Like, you can do this right after you opened up your laptop to make the support work for you in parallel also. And last thing, a recommendation from my end. I tested this for enhancing the impact part. Rather than having a technical impact, we want a business impact, so we can share that with the business people, with the customer. So this instance was not available, but what happened? Maybe the website went down. Maybe customers couldn't buy new phone cases, for example. So what happened? If you go to this cork icon, and I guess they changed this part. They named it to skills. It was runbooks before. You can add a skill here, and like, let's say you have Confluence or Notion or Bookstack, whatever, and that tool has an API or MCP server. If it doesn't have an MCP server, just an API, you can go for agent core solution I mentioned before. So you can give some instructions here. So whenever something like whenever you wanna define the impact, use business documentations in Confluence for understanding business functionality of related services. So this description is when you want your agent to use the skill, and a name is required. business impact. Okay. And then the instructions. So you can go and query Confluence with MCP server, for example, and you can give more and more steps here. And it will go and do that. It will read that skill book and then execute it accordingly. So this is the skill parts. Like I said, this is where probably SREs will be working more on, like giving more and more skills to this DevOps agent rather than troubleshooting here or directing it to the right place. So investigation can give some outcome. And this is the last part. I promise I'll pass the microphone after this one. So this is proactive part of the SRE. Like this is what changes a basic support team to an SRE team. You need to be proactive. Like before incident happens, your job is to fix the underlying cause before it creates an outage. And you usually get that from two different sources. Like you do assessments on the infrastructure, on the application layer, and get some actionable items from there, or you will go over your postmortems, post-incidents, and gather together all the actionable items, and you will go and execute them. So what this prevention part does, you start using the DevOps agent for your instance, so it learns about your problems like observability gaps, reliability issues. It will start learning about them, and when you press this one, probably I won't get anything because I don't have any incident data. It will list all those actionable items here. Like it will say, disable non-secure access to S3 buckets, for example, or it will say increase replica count to minimum of 2 in production because you have Carpenter, and that will consolidate your nodes and you will get an outage. So it will give you recommendations here. It won't apply for you. You will see some icons right on the right side, but you can like create tasks out of them to enhance your reliability, and you can run this from time to time to also analyze your issues within the infrastructure, like maybe code optimization, maybe observability gap, maybe infrastructure problems, or maybe governance issues. Agent will summarize what's the status of your current maturity level. Oh, yeah, that's about it, I guess.
I thank you really for deep dive demo. Thank you again. But just a reminder for the viewers, if you have any questions, you can send them with chat. We can answer for it. But firstly, Çağatay, I have a couple of questions about the DevOps agent. But it's the measurable impact, I think. What kind of measurable impact can we accept? For example, how much can it reduce the initial troubleshooting time? Do you have any measurable impact or numbers?
Yeah, good question. Good question. I would create a baseline first before using the DevOps agent. Like there are two metrics in SRE, MTTA and MTTR, mean time to acknowledge and mean time to resolve. Probably the second one is more important here, the mean resolution time. So I would go and calculate that from my past postmortems and then recalculate it after the DevOps agent, because that's what it shortens, the resolution time. The acknowledge time is instant. Like if you have a webhook, it acknowledges right after you opened up the ticket or fired the alert. So I would go for MPTR.
Okay, thank you, Çağatay. Also, another question is about SRE part. What percentage of the alerts are actually useful? Because you receive a lot of alerts during the day. How can you categorize them and how can you separate them? And what is the percentage for the useful alerts? Do you have any measurable impact.
Dorian, 80-20 rule would work here. I don't know.
Yes, it is 99-1 rule.
So when an alert comes in, it's not directly an incident. The SRE team will first go and try to decide if it's an incident or not. And also, there's no one-to-one relationship. It's more like many-to-one. Like many alerts can be the symptoms of one incident. So I don't have a statistic about it, but I would say like 20% of alerts are responsible for 80%. I don't know if it will work.
It's hard to you. Okay, thank you, Çağatay.
By the way, the DevOps agent can help out there also. Like if you have many alerts, it can correlate them. If they are a part of one incident, it will probably understand.
Yeah.
The
Because
root
I
cause
think
will be the same.
it's important for the noisy or versus signal or useful alerts. They are different categories. We need to separate them. It's hard to you. It's hard to SRE engineers. I know. So I said that. Thank you. Thank you again. I think that's all from my side. Dorian, Çağatay, do you
Yeah,
have
that really looks impressive. That really looks impressive. And I know Çağatay's team is actively using the agent. So, and I look forward also how it will proceed in the upcoming versions. So we'll see new functions upcoming, of course. It's just preview now, has been recently announced. And we would really like to hear about anyone experienced it. Any feedbacks would be great for us anytime. We really appreciate it. We are also experimenting. Not experimenting, we already began using it in our daily operations, but we are also trying to expand it with its features. So thanks for everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Çağatay. Thank you, Dorian. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.